Well, welcome back to another. This is episode 10. No, wait, yes.
It is.
Yeah.
Podcast. We've done 10,
Wow.
recorded 10 podcasts.
We
Good
made
job,
it to
guys.
double
Made it.
digits. Wow.
This time we watched a 1994 Chungking Express. This one, we did something a little bit different for this episode. We put out a poll on Instagram with 3 movies, and we let people decide.
The people.
The people.
You people. Maybe. And if you looked at our story and you didn't vote, shame on you.
Oh my god.
But don't worry, they'll probably be in next time.
Yeah, so make sure you to like, follow, subscribe, retweet, re-X.
Is that how it...
I don't know.
Listen, your vote matters even if you don't listen to the podcast. Take 3 seconds out of your day and just pick one of the options. It really means a lot to us. So thank you for those for participating.
Justin,
Yeah.
how would they hear that if they don't listen to the podcast?
Should we just cut the recording? Like, are we done?
That's it. We're over.
Yeah.
Your phone locked me out.
Oh.
Anyway, we're AV Media.
Oh, yeah.
Do we have to say our names?
That would be a good idea.
Okay.
You start.
All right. I'm Rochelle.
Right next? Oh, I'm Justin. Hey, guys.
I'm Riley.
And I'm Brahman. I don't know why I said it like that. I'm Brahman. Welcome back.
Welcome to episode 10.
Episode 10.
A lot of breakthroughs here, double digits.
We're still in the blanket for it.
New poll
Yeah.
system, same microphone, same crew, same talking about the movie for around 30 to 40 minutes.
Let's freaking go.
All right.
Give us the synopsis.
all right.
Chungking
Express.
Express.
It's got 8 stars, or 8 out of 10 on IMDb.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, little synopsis here from IMDb, because I'm not making this up.
And we're plagiarizing.
That sounded really bad.
How about you say it with your own thoughts, just based on the movie you've seen?
Okay, well, basically it followed 2 stories of... Hang on, just my brain's loading.
She's step printing. Her brain is step printing. Is that what it's called?
It kind of just followed the two
Cops?
love stories in a way, but like also breakup stories of 2 guys. Yeah, I don't know what else to say.
That's pretty much it, honestly.
Yeah.
Like
Honestly, yeah.
that's
It locked me out again.
oh my goodness.
This is a romance movie. I think
Yeah.
this was our
Yeah.
It
first
said
romance.
it says like a romance crime was what it said on
Yeah.
IMDb.
I mean,
And
maybe.
there was a bit because there was some
If the
drugs
first
going
one
on.
kept going, it could have been more crimey.
Well, no, okay, but the other girl from the second story was breaking into the dude's house.
There were
That's
definitely
true.
many crimes going on, whether it was socially acceptable or not.
Yeah.
This was directed by Wong Kar-wai. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And released in 1996.
Okay.
So
I mean, overall thoughts, I enjoyed it. This was a French new wave film, and I didn't realize it until we were halfway through that I'm like, wait a minute, I learned about this.
I don't think it was entirely French New Wave, but it definitely felt like a French New Wave because I don't know. I don't imagine they were running around improving and like running through the streets. And
No, but they were checking a lot of the boxes of a French new wave film.
I think what made it feel similar to a French New Wave film to me was the characters were all like abstract in a way, like they were all kind of like weird, and that's kind of a similar thing in French New Wave where it's like they're just not normal people, you know, like it's not just an average Joe. It's like they got weird quirks and like just abnormal people.
Also, a lot of the camera work was very handheld, and especially near the beginning, it felt kind of... There was some very, like, really nicely composed shots and, like, really cinematic shots, but then there's also a lot of handheld where it really felt like you were in, like, right there in the action, because it felt kind of documentary style in a way, like, you're just right in there. There's no, like... It's not polished or anything like that.
Very
was
run and
just,
gun.
yeah, yeah.
It felt gritty, very gritty.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's like moments where it went soft on the focus
Mm-hmm.
and like the like almost like the lighting for it was like some areas were so overexposed and kind of had that like it had a natural tone to it, like, you know, in a way, like if you're looking through sitting in a room and it's bright outside, the window's like blown out, right? But I thought it was really interesting seeing just the lighting of it as well.
Yeah, this being shot on film and it being a very unique filming style, when things are out of focus, I didn't really mind it. I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay, this is a choice and I'm with it. It was very, very fun. I think we should talk about, since this movie was a little weird, how it was like two stories in one movie. I'd like to talk about the first story and then we could talk about the second story.
Break it down.
So essentially in the first story, much like Rochelle's description, a gentleman, a young cop, is struggling with a breakup, and he eventually falls in love with this woman who he doesn't realize is doing some pretty shifty stuff, getting involved with some drugs and some sort of criminal activity. But we kind of see both sides of the story here. But for the most part, it's just this guy struggling over a breakup and trying to like do some really weird. I don't know what the word is, but what's it called? Where superstitions or something? He's made up his own superstitions where he's just like, you know, if I buy a can of pineapple every day until my birthday, then that means that the breakup is officially over or something like that. Super, super weird. But, you know, some lonely guys out there, they hang on, you know, they hope for the best and they're just wanting things to not be true. But unfortunately, things just don't work out sometimes. But,
It was a weird love story.
yeah.
Like, it wasn't even really a love story.
No.
It was just they met once.
And, he
And then they kinda
tried
went their
so
separate-
hard, like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
at the bar or whatever.
Their stories didn't intertwine until like the last 10 minutes of their story,
Yeah.
which is
And-
so
Yeah.
weird.
Well, they met once, and then he got her a hotel room, and then he left,
Yeah.
and that was it. And then she went and blasted some dude with a fucking revolver 7 million times, and then that was it.
Yeah.
And then
But-
they never met again.
But she did wish him happy birthday.
Yeah.
She did wish him happy birthday when no one else did. It's true.
It's true. Which is a sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was really pushing, like, he was like, oh, I know how to break the ice. Do you like pineapples?
Yeah,
In like
Yeah.
4 different
So-
languages.
Yeah. He ate 30 cans of pineapple and then went to the bar and then like started throwing up, got a bunch of drinks, went to a hotel room, and then ate like 4 burgers.
No, apparently 4 chef salads, but he ate
But
so
then
many
he was
other
like eating
things as
fried.
well.
He was constantly
And
eating.
watched 2 old movies and just ate. And I was like, how is this man so skinny? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he jogs a lot because
Yeah.
So he doesn't cry.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
if
so it doesn't
he
cry.
use all the water for sweat, he won't have water for tears.
Yeah. It was
The logic.
oddly beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah.
But something I'm disappointed by
Mm.
is we only ever saw his dog once, and that made me sad because
And
it's a
then
very
the
cute
dog
dog.
was sitting on the counter when you first
It was a very
see it.
yeah.
Like just chilling, sitting on the counter.
Yeah. And there was a lot of is it step printing? What's it called?
It's
Like
like,
this was like the first movie to do it.
it's a shutter drag sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah. So in this movie, they use this technique, which I think this is the first time they did it, where essentially you shoot at a lower shutter speed or a lower frame rate, essentially, and then you in post speed it up, so it makes everything look. I believe that's what it is, right?
Isn't it just like a high aperture?
It's just like basically like if you shoot normally at a 24 frame rate, you could have that and then shoot at a 12 frame rate. And then when you play it, it's like choppy because it's
Yeah.
like
Oh, I'm
catching
thinking of
12
something
frames
else.
instead of 24. So it's not as like smooth, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I did something like that for my dog.
So did I too.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did that for the fire, remember?
Oh, that's right.
And then it made it look like there was like light trails with the fire. It was just whipping around. Yeah.
They used it a lot, and it was. I mean, it was a little bit jarring at first, just because like that was the first shot we saw, was just like the whole sequence of like people running and stuff. But I'd say it was pretty fun.
But it's cool though because we have seen this before now. Slumdog Millionaire had it
Oh yeah,
in
definitely.
it. And there's been a couple of like other films that have had it as well. Like what was that? Run Lola Run had that in the
Yeah,
first sequence.
sure did.
So it's kind of cool to see. I'm not sure if that was the first film that had done it, but it's cool to see it like transfer through to other films. Like,
Yeah, evolve a little bit.
yeah, and it's like used in different ways. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I do love the chaos of it, like the whole running, like chasing sequence
Yeah.
at the beginning. It's like I thought it'd be more like nauseating in a way. Like I thought it'd be harder to watch. Like, but it actually wasn't that bad watching it. It was kind of cool because there would be moments where he would be in focus
Mm-hmm.
and you catch it and then it'd be like blurs and like and him in focus again. So I kind of did like that. It was like enough to see him but not quite, like, you know, kind of felt like sort of ghostly in a way. So
Yeah. The filmmaking was very, very creative. There was a lot of fun lighting techniques. And listen, the first time we saw it on screen, and the cinematographer must have loved it so much because he had to get 2 separate shots of it.
2. There was like 6 shots of it.
I
We
swear.
like kept coming back to it.
No, but okay, but here's the part that's crazy is I swear the first time we see it, they use the same shots again later.
Yeah, I think you're
Yeah.
right, but
Yeah.
but then there's more shots.
Yeah. So there's this really, really cool looking jukebox with spinning CDs in it. And something with the lighting just hitting the CDs, it just created this really cool light refraction. And it
it's
just,
like a rainbow prism
oh,
thing.
it was so cool. I was just
Yeah.
like, this is fantastic. And then of course, you know, we see the same shot again, except just at a different angle. I'm just like, even the people making it loved it so much, they just need to do it again.
Yeah.
And then we kept coming back to that jukebox.
I know. We were making a joke of it almost. We're like, oh, are we going to go back to the shot? And
Yeah.
sure enough, we went back onto that CD shot and we're like, oh my gosh.
If I was editing this thing, I'd do the same thing. I'm like,
Honestly, me too.
one more time.
Random
Anyway.
cutbacks.
Any way I could.
Yeah. I loved the shots of the woman with the raincoat and the glasses. I don't know, just she could have just been like leaning up against a wall, the cigarette in her hand. This movie just had, especially the first part, just so much like retro vibes to it. And it just, the characters emitted just, especially her, so much class.
It almost felt noir-esque.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you know, the rain, and then the water hitting the windows, and then the cigarettes, and walking across the streets and stuff like that, and just the lights and everything and the environments. It just, I loved it, honestly. I wish we had that sort of environment here in town, because that'd be so much fun to film in. So cool. I loved it.
I enjoyed how it didn't follow your typical storyline per se. Like, you didn't know exactly what was going to happen next. And I feel like sometimes that can make a movie feel long when you can't see the same structure that you're used to. But I feel like with this one, like, I was engaged like the whole time, and it didn't seem like I didn't get lost or bored because I didn't know what was going to happen. And it was kind of weird, the structure too, because we were following the first story of the first guy, and then not even halfway through we're on to a completely different story, and we never come back to that first story. And I didn't mind that. I honestly, like, when it was near the end, I knew that the movie was going to be over, and like, you were shocked when the movie ended, but I saw it coming.
I just was expecting some sort of intertwine between the two characters or the
Yeah.
two stories. So
Yeah,
when
so
the
was
credits
I.
rolled, I was like,
So was I, but when it got near the end, I'm like, I don't think we're coming back to that story.
yeah. I mean, all the guy wanted was just to be with a woman and have someone say happy birthday. And I mean, in essence, that kind of happened. I thought it was kind of funny how he was really down bad, and he started, you know, calling girls from his 4th grade.
I just don't know how
Remember
he has
me?
all their numbers.
That's
Oh, you're
impressive.
married and you have 2 kids? How did that happen? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, never mind. See ya.
Yeah. I think maybe just for everyone who doesn't know, when we talk about the 2 stories, with the first, like, you know, love interaction there with that first story. What happens is he goes to this kind of late night eatery and then bumps into this girl who starts working there, and then it kicks off the next sort of romantic story. So that's kind of what we're meaning with that, is there's kind of like this split basically that happened all within like interactions of one another, and then the next part of the movie basically is just about this romance.
Yeah.
And the only character to be in both like halves of the movie, I guess, is the sandwich shop like owner.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The same like environment and the same character, which is pretty cool. He was the bridge.
He was.
But then like we never saw the characters in the first half, in the second half.
Yeah.
Except when it's like that transition. But after that we never saw them.
Yeah, that's true. There was like little snippets of them. Even the cop in the second one showed up in the first one just for a moment.
Yeah.
Which I think is like a fun little like plug, because it's like, hey, this is coming soon.
Yeah. When's my shot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When am I gonna fall in love?
Yeah. Do you want to start talking about the second one, or was there any other notes you guys wanted to mention with the first one?
I think we're good to move on.
I just think like that also, this like whole transition of a storyline is also very French New Wave, because I think we saw a movie in school where, wasn't it like it started with somebody on the hallway and then it led into somebody else? Wasn't that like something we watched that was in one of those movies?
Well, I think Run Lola Run kind of had that, where we followed the character for a little bit and then they did something different when she looped again.
Yeah.
Am I crazy? Or maybe I'm thinking of something else, but
I don't know, but yeah. Or maybe I'm actually thinking of the other movie he's done. He's like did one where it's like In the Mood for Love as well. And that one kind of has a similar sort of French New Wave. And I might be getting that mixed up, because it was like he started on one person and then they interacted and then they moved to another person. So he seems to kind of like to do that.
yeah.
Which I think is really cool. But anyways, second romance, let's go.
Yeah.
How do they fall in love? Or do they fall in love?
That's a wonderful question.
Well, so basically this cop, his girlfriend,
Different cop.
New cop. His girlfriend breaks up with him, and he goes to the sandwich shop every day, and he gets really sad about it. And then his girlfriend shows up at the sandwich shop and leaves a note for him for some reason at the sandwich shop, not like going to his apartment or anything and leaving it there. And then a girl who works at the sandwich shop opens it, and oh, look, it's a key to his apartment. And so then she sneaks into his apartment over and over and starts changing things and improving his life, I guess.
In a way.
And he doesn't ever really notice, I don't think. And then she moves to California for a year, comes back, and they fall in love, I guess.
It's very open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very open
She
to your
writes him a
interpretation.
boarding pass to
Yeah.
wherever
She wants to go.
him. Yeah.
Well, she wants to take him wherever she wants to take him.
So.
But I didn't like the girl in the second half. I thought she was kind of annoying and like just weird. It was like, why are you going into this guy's apartment?
Well, she really liked loud music, so
She did.
right off the bat, it's like, okay, turn it down. I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, it was so funny because it was like, she was like, what? And it's like, even I was like, bro, turn down the music. Like, come on. Like, I don't want to hear you repeat yourself over and over again.
Yeah. But she just suddenly had this obsession of just like slightly changing things in this guy's apartment, which I just thought about it like in like a real life setting. I would go insane. I'd be like, was that poster there?
Was that my cup for
Yeah,
my
wait, that's-
toothbrush cup?
Did I always have an orange pair of shoes?
Yeah. Is this my bed sheets?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, I would know if somebody had changed my bed sheets. Like,
This guy just had no idea. He was
did
so
I
oblivious.
have 10 goldfish? Like, what?
Yeah, that didn't make any sense.
Like,
But-
there was so many moments where I was like, how does he not know?
It was kind of funny because I was just waiting for like when, because she knows that he's on duty, so then she goes to his apartment and then does all these things while he's working. But I was just, of course, it was going to be like, okay, he's gonna come home for some reason and she's gonna be there, and then what's gonna happen?
And then that happened, and there wasn't like any conflict.
Nope.
She just like ran away, and then he asked her out on a date.
Yeah.
He's into that sort of stuff.
I guess, but
He's
that was
like, oh my god, the first girl to break into my house, I'm gonna marry her.
like,
Okay.
This true love.
In essence, it's kind of charming because his life was because his life was slowly getting better with those little changes in his home.
yeah.
So, in that sort of essence, I can see how he would be like, okay, thank you, I like you because you were slowly improving my life.
I don't think he ever figured it out that she was improving his life.
I think so.
I don't think
I don't
so.
think so.
I think because he went back to the restaurant after they had a confrontation, they both saw each other, kind of yelled at each other, and then said, hey, I want to take you out on a date. And she's like, well, maybe I don't want to. And he's just like, well, here's the CD. He didn't say this, but you don't like this music. I think you'd like this music a lot more. And it was the CD that she left at his apartment. I think that to me was just a good hint of just like, I know you've been sneaking basically stuff into my apartment, but I still want to take you out on a date. That's the way I perceive it. He seemed very confident about it. So in my head, I was like,
No,
okay.
but I think it was because he was explaining before. He was like, I'm becoming more observant of things. Like even the tuna tastes different, or the anchovies taste different, or whatever, right? Because it was a different type of anchovy, but he didn't notice. So him bringing that CD was because she started listening to it in his apartment when he was there. And so he just thought she liked that. And he thought that his ex listened to the same music. I don't think he ever realized that she was leaving stuff there.
I don't know, yeah.
When you put it like that, it's kind of hard to tell.
He just
You're
seemed so
right.
oblivious when he was getting ready for his date, and everything that he put on was like stuff that she left in his apartment. And there was like never like a shadow of a doubt where he was like, where did I get these red socks from? Where did this flannel shirt come from? Like, it was like, what?
He never noticed.
I know.
The big like tip off to me, and I was just kind of like, oh my god, he's gonna figure it out, was near the beginning of this story. He was talking to his very thin bar of soap, and he was just like, you gotta put on some weight and stuff. And then all of a sudden, later in the story, after she's visited his apartment a couple of times, the bar of soap he picks up is really, really big. And I'm like, oh my god, he's figured it out. He's just like, you put on so much weight, man. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And then he's looking at this towel. He's like, I'm disappointed in you, towel. And I'm like, what the heck is happening? So, yeah, he could have just been completely oblivious and just did not know.
But he was learning to be more observant, right?
I guess so. Yeah.
'Cause part of the issue before was he wasn't observant, and then he was becoming more observant. So yeah. But I think the coolest shot in the movie happened when they did a step printing shot, but it's a still shot, and we're looking at this cop drinking coffee, but he's moving in what seems to be normal speed, where everything around him is like moving really fast. And Riley apparently looked this up.
Well, I had known about this shot previously.
Yeah. So how did they do it?
So basically, I wouldn't say he was moving at normal speed. I would still say he's moving relatively slow.
It looked like it was slow-mo. Like,
Yeah.
it was slow-mo.
But everything else around him is moving at like that kind of, when you first see the movie, that blurry sort of state that we were talking about. So the shot is still like whatever at 12 frames. But for him to be like smooth and moving slowly, he actually has to move very, very slow while everything around him is moving around at a normal pace. So when they like, for instance, put it in the post-production and they speed it up, everything's moving blurry, but he's actually moving like slowly because he's like moving so slow actually when they're shooting it. So it's like a crazy shot because it's like he seems like so like out, like he seems like so like like unique in his situation because he's moving at this slow rate and then everything around him is like chaos. And it was just like the one cut was when he went like refused to like read the letter, and then it's just like hard cut him slow-mo drinking the coffee, like everything moving around him, and I was just like, this is so good.
And they did that one other time as well, right? When he was in the bar.
Putting the coin in the
Putting the
jukebox.
coin in the jukebox. Yeah.
Both times I was just like, those shots really stood out to me. I was just like, this is
really
so
cool.
fun.
This is so much fun. It is, honestly, because it's already fun because they're playing around with the shutter speed and they're doing things that are like, you know, unique. But then they're like, oh, let's take this, but then let's also make it even crazier and then like make you move super, super slow. So it looks like you're moving at like, you know, a non-blurry pace, but also like slow motion while everything is like not slow motion. Like, so cool. I love it.
And then there'd be also instances where they would just completely freeze the frame.
Yeah.
Like there was the one where
Freeze
it held on it for a while, and I think we thought that the movie like glitched out or something for a second, but it didn't. And then there was another time where it only happened for like a split second.
Yeah, it happened like a couple times where it was like a split second.
Yeah,
and
like,
just whoa.
you'd almost miss it. Just like, wait, did the frame
It
just
was like
freeze?
a weird time transition almost. It was like instead of just using a wipe or something, it was like freeze frame.
Yeah.
See, I kind of love instances like that in movies because it really just it's kind of like a reminder to the audience that's like, are you paying attention?
Yeah.
Are you still watching?
It's
Did
true.
you see that? Okay, you did? Okay, good. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
That to me is kind of what that says. So I'm kind of looking at that in a more not professional film, but in a more your
Hollywood-esque film.
Hollywood-esque film. If you saw something like that, you'd be like, that's not supposed to be there. That was an error. But in this sort of movie, it's just like, no, I can see this happening in this movie multiple times. And it did.
And that's why, like, bringing us back to a couple episodes ago, that's why I loved Mandy so much, too. Because it just broke all the rules. And so did this movie. And that's, like, that's so cool to me. It's just, like, doing something that's never been done before and just owning it.
It makes it stand out.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I definitely will like remember that shot from like for a while.
Yeah. I want to recreate it.
Yeah, we all wanted to recreate it.
Honestly,
for sure.
it's on the list. I would love to do something like that.
Yeah,
It's so
very Chungking inspired shots or something like that. But how about the fact that or when the electricity bill goes out and they light all those candles and it's like the red like what is it?
It was like lens flares from all the
Flares.
candles.
Yeah, they're like vertical.
They were like these super long vertical flares, and like I felt like it really showed the coloring in the candle scene because everything was so red, and there was a lot of greens too when it wasn't like when it was them in the shop and stuff, like in the food shop.
Right.
And I thought the coloring was also very interesting, but the flares, I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was curious if that was all naturally lit as well.
I don't know.
Because
Hard to say.
Yeah, it is hard to say. But there was a lot of candles and they were very flary.
The wicks were very big. It was very, very cool. I was like, that is very abnormal. I like it. Super cool.
I loved all the color in the film too. Like, it felt very saturated, and I don't know. I liked they would have like two colors, like I don't know if they were complementary. I guess some of them were actually complementary colors, like the red and green, and then the blue and purple kind of. I don't know. I really enjoyed all the colors in the film.
And a lot of reflective mirror shots.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Where you think you're looking at the right angle, but then it turns out you're looking at a reflection. A lot of that. Very, very fun.
Or what they did a few times was you're looking at something and somebody will leave frame and the camera will like pan up into a reflection and you see them like leaving the room. It was like a really cool like transition of where they're going, but in one shot.
I would love to look up stills of this movie, honestly, because there was so many good ones. There were so many good shots.
Very inspiring for sure. Because it did really feel like they were just like, when it was handheld, it just felt like they were in the space with them. So it was cool having those reflection shots because it almost feels like like almost like watching somebody go in a weird way. Like, you know, like if you're standing in the bathroom, you would see the person in the reflection like leave or whatever. So it kind of had a very like natural feel to it, even though it was sort of abstract. But yeah.
Yeah. It was fun. It was a fun movie. Despite how a little bit crazy it was at times, I was engaged through the whole thing.
Same.
So I enjoyed it.
The dialogue was really good and like really witty and kind of weird.
Yeah.
And I have to agree, I think the girl in the second one was a little like too strange for me, but I did like her kind of, I guess, uniqueness. And just like the fact that she was just like messing with this guy, like
I loved it, honestly.
He said hello out of his window as he's like leaving. Like, come on, the poor guy, he's losing his mind.
Because he thinks that his ex-girlfriend is gonna show up one day. So
Yeah.
just the fact that she knows this is just like, why are you doing this to him?
Dude, she's a little crazy. I don't think I'd want her as a girlfriend for sure, but I don't know. I don't know how I'd feel about that. Like,
it would definitely be an adjustment. Be a little odd.
What do you think he was renovating at the end when he bought the shop? Like, do you think
He's just renovating.
it was going to be the same business, or do you think it would be something completely different?
I think it would be the same business.
I think he said he would make her something to eat, so it sounded like maybe something food related. I don't know what he would make, but
I feel like he would try and recreate the shop, in my opinion, or at least makes like something a little bit better than it was, because I mean that's when he met his crazy, lovable home invader. Yeah, good movie.
thank you for the recommendations, Rochelle.
Yes, great choices,
And
Rochelle.
thank you for our followers for choosing this one.
Yep, I was really hoping for this one. The poster
Me
alone
too.
looked really fun.
I
so,
voted for this one.
Yeah, I think we all did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
which actually swayed the vote, and none of us voted for it. I think Raising Arizona would have won.
No, it was still.
Was it?
Are we
that
allowed
many
to
votes in?
vote?
I don't know.
I don't know.
We voted.
You decide, listeners. If you're listening, decide if we are allowed to vote or not.
Yeah. Do
let
we
us
get a
know.
vote? Do we get a say?
Yeah.
All right.
I would give this 7.5 positive home invasions out of 10.
That's right. Not none of those negative ones.
No,
This
like
was a
positive
The
ones.
ones
Like
that come
when
with goldfish.
the ones that break in and like do something nice for you. Yeah.
yeah.
I love
One of those kind of
kinds.
home invasions. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, me too.
I really enjoyed it. I liked the step printing a lot. And you know what? No, I'm gonna raise it 8 out of 10. I really liked it.
Breaking news.
Breaking news: Brahman has raised his vote from 7.5 to 8. But no, I really enjoyed it. I like movies that kind of break boundaries of filmmaking and do something unexpected and weird in a way. And when they do that and they hold my attention and don't make me go, what the fuck am I watching? Or make me do go like that, but still pay attention. I really like movies like that. And this one was one of them.
Well said. Yeah. That's
Thanks.
A good way
I
to put
feel
it.
like I was rambling a little bit there.
Okay, we got there.
I got it.
Do you think there'll ever be a 10 out of 10? Anyone will give a 10
Yeah.
out of 10 on a movie?
If we ever watch Lord of the Rings, that'll already be 10 out of 10. I have that.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
I hope we'll get there. I'm sure one of us is gonna be like, yeah, this was a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
But
I
we'll
think
get
we
there.
will.
Mandy was close for me.
That's
What
true.
did you give Mandy?
9.
Wow.
Someone else is voting?
I give it, I would say, 8.5
Whoa.
expired cans of pineapple out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, yeah, I loved pretty much every aspect of it except for the fact that I would have loved to have some sort of like subtle crossover at the end. Just like my like mind would have been a little bit more almost like at ease if they had just like had that very very subtly like cross just at the end, just to kind of like come back to kind of almost where we started. And I think the girl could have been a little less annoying for the second one, but for the most part, really cool. I really wanted to know where that guy was going with the whole pineapple pickup line, but maybe it's just like, do you like pineapple? Yes or no will decide your fate.
That was his icebreaker.
He
We'll have
had-
to try that sometime.
He had pineapple on the
On-
brain. Yeah.
On me or
Yeah,
who
well,
are
on
you
anybody.
talking
We'll have to try that sometime.
I'm gonna give this. I'm gonna give this rating. I'd like to say, funny enough, Brahman, I was like 7.5 going into this podcast, but after you say this, I'm like, I'm gonna give it an 8. I really love the cinematography on this whole thing. I think if I were to choose whether a better story or cinematography, I would say cinematography over story, but I would still say it's an 8 in my book. So in that said, I give it. I'm trying to find something clever. 8 rapid fire shots in the revolver out of 10.
Man, she really blasted that guy.
It was just like
6 shots.
Like it was a full magazine, like a full revolver,
and then
into
she
his
left.
back.
I'm out.
And then she just
And that ended it. pretty
Oh,
much.
really quick before we get to your rating. So I initially thought that because she took off her wig, we never saw her without her glasses on. I initially thought that Faye, the second girl, was actually the first girl. Because all of a sudden she takes her wig off and then he bumps into new girl. I was like, oh my gosh, that's the same person. That was my initial thought. Then I'm like, wait a minute, no, their face structure is different. It's a totally
Yeah.
different person.
That could have been crazy though.
Yeah. And then she just falls in love with someone completely different, and then we never come back to that first detective
Yeah.
guy. That would have been
He's still
sad.
waiting at his pager, being like, "Will
Yeah.
she say happy birthday to me next year?"
Oh no, that's
Eating all his canned pineapples again.
That's so sad.
That poor man.
Anyway, Rochelle, please give your review.
I'm also gonna give it an 8. 8 goldfishes out of 10.
Let's go on.
I really enjoyed the cinematography as well. And yeah, I really enjoyed the story. I couldn't predict per se what was gonna happen. And I still really enjoyed it though.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
There were a couple of moments where I'm just like, oh no, this is gonna happen, and then it just completely didn't. I'm just like, oh my god, panicking for nothing. We should really keep track of what movie, what the rating is for each movie, because I'm interested to see.
Oh yeah, somebody was telling me about there's something actually you can go on to review and rate movies.
Oh, Letterboxd?
Yeah.
I got it, and I've been putting in the last few movies that I've been watching.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But it's only out of 5. You can rate them and then write a little review on them and all that stuff.
Maybe we could do that.
And then add movies to your watch list and then follow other people.
I was just thinking that I can go back in our podcast and just add up our totals that we've
Yeah.
given the movie so far, and then we can see which one has been the lowest and which one has been the highest. You know what? I think I'll do that later.
Okay.
I'm gonna do that.
I just want to point out 2 things. One, because we all love the cinematography, I just want to point out the cinematographers were Christopher Doyle and Andrew Lau. Kudos to you guys. Fantastic job.
Good
and
research.
apparently, there's a sequel to this movie.
Oh,
What?
Fallen
go.
Angels is apparently the sequel.
Really?
fun.
That's what IMDb is telling me. Yeah.
Is it good?
How would it be a sequel?
Yeah. Does it
Does
continue
it
the
follow
stories?
does it go back to
Does
the
this-
first story?
Ooh, back on the crossover again. Let's go. Freeze frame. Enter into Fallen Angel.
And do they have the jukebox?
Apparently, they're not really connected. There's one kind of Easter egg scene, but it doesn't matter which order you watch them in.
Okay.
Where they're about different
Okay,
people.
So then what
Different
makes it a
people.
sequel?
I think it was released after.
Or is that
No,
more
actually, it
like,
was released before.
is that more like an anthology then? Is that what
1995.
an anthology is?
I don't know. We'll have to investigate
Okay.
this. Maybe we'll watch this movie. It also apparently has really good 95 on Rotten Tomatoes. Fallen Angels.
Dang.
Maybe we'll have to watch that sometime.
Okay.
But looking at the cast lists, doesn't look like it's the same cast. So yeah,
Cool.
totally different cast.
Cool. Might have to check it out then.
Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
who's next for the movies?
That would be you. Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay,
So-
well then we might have to do this again. Do another poll for the.
Another poll.
Get thinking on your movies, Riley.
Yeah, I'll be posting them probably next week.
Yes.
You guys get to choose, see what we watch, what we review. Will we love it? Will we hate it?
Mm.
Will we
I've mentioned
break
it before.
into somebody's house?
I really want us to review like a bad movie. Like, I think it would be really funny. But anyway,
Lowest
we will.
rated IMDb movies will be next.
We'll get there eventually.
Nobody will vote for them
The
because they'll be
Room.
like, don't do it.
yeah. Anyway,
Okay, is that it?
I think that's it.
I'm sweating.
Okay, yep, sweaty, tired. Yep, we're gonna go to bed.
Okay, thank you guys.
Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for listening to After Hours on the 10th episode. Hooray, we made it.
Rochelle, do you want to close us out again
Oh yeah,
with one word?
One word.
one word.
One word.
Yep.
Uh,
You're really close to the mic when you say it.
okay. I was gonna whisper it, but I don't like that.
No, just say it
Okay.
like.
No.
Oh, don't say that.
No. Fingernail.